Hey guys, Frightener22 here, and welcome back to Day 5 of my 31 Frightening Days of Halloween Marathon. As you can tell, the living dead are upon us tonight, so we're going to be taking a look at the 1990 version of Night of the Living Dead. Now, this film was actually makeup effects guru Tom Savini's directorial debut, and it is, of course, a remake of the classic 1968 George A. Romero classic Night of the Living Dead. And in this film, the cast is headlined by Tony Todd, Patricia Tallman, who takes over the role of Barbara, Tom Tolles, William Butler, and a small appearance by Bill Moseley. Now, here's the thing. As you can tell, I'm a big lover of horror movies and cult movies, and, over the course of upholding my YouTube channel, I've been pretty, most of the movies that I review, I end up reviewing them because I have something, like I just felt like they were worthy enough to talk about, and therefore I must have liked them enough to, talk about them so passionately and stuff. But the interesting thing with the 1990 version of Night of the Living Dead is that, for the sake of this review, this was actually the first time I ever reviewed this remake. I just always slipped through the cracks for me. I have always seen, all the other original Romero zombie films, as well as, the newer ones like Diary of the Dead and Survival of the Dead. And I've even seen the 2004 remake of Dawn of the Dead, but this was just one film that just totally slipped through the cracks for me. So I figured, hey, why not use the 31 Frightening Days of Halloween Marathon as a launchpad to finally not only view this film, but to give it, my, first, overall impression of this thing. And that said, it kind of sucks to have to do this, but I really overall didn't enjoy this film. Now, there's a lot of things that I feel, there's a lot of things that I just disliked about it, and I'm going to get into that. But first, let's talk about the plot. For anybody that didn't see the original classic Romero film, it's very simplistic and stripped down. It deals with two characters, Barbara and Johnny, who are going to visit their mother's grave, and basically right out the gate of visiting their mother's grave, within the first, 5 minutes of the film, zombies start attacking. That's cool. I loved that about the original Romero classic, and I loved it in this one. No bullshit, no rhyme or reason as to what's going on, just there's fucking zombies and deal with it. That's what this film's about, and that's just right out the gate. And it's cool because it starts the film off on, a really exciting note. The zombie designs look really cool, and I would really expect nothing less coming from a guy, who's a big makeup effects artist. Tom Savini is the man in the industry. I mean, he's been responsible for countless, makeup designs in, Friday the 13th, among many, many other films. But, yeah, the zombie designs look really, really cool and tight, and this especially in that opening cemetery shot. But, after that, it basically, Barbara, who, has to leave her dead brother Johnny in the tracks, who's played by Bill Moseley, most commonly known as Chop Top from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and House of a Thousand Corpses, and The Devil's Rejects. So she ends up holing up in an abandoned house who, at least she thinks is abandoned, but there turns out to be other people in the house, most notably Ben, played by Tony Todd, who's another big horror icon who would later go on to play Candyman in the Candyman franchise. And Tom Tolles is there with his wife and daughter, who's been bitten by a zombie, as well as William Butler and his wife. So they're just basically holing up in this house as zombies, over the course of this 88-minute film, take plunge into that house trying to get the flesh off their bones. Now, it's simplistic. It follows the basic, structure and outline of the original Romero classic, but it's one of those films where it drags, and the film starts off, and I really, really wanted to like this film. I was really liking it in the beginning, but it just gets so boring once they get to the house. There's just too much of them, too much, annoying dialogue and bickering of going back and forth and nailing the windows shut and trying to keep the zombies out when you don't even see zombies attack for most of the time. It's like they come through the windows, but later on. But it's just a lot of, build up to the zombies actually coming to the house, and I hate when it gets to that point where I get to the point where I'm bored and I'm looking at, my watch a lot more than I want to, because when I'm watching a movie, if I really, really like it, and I'm really enjoying myself, I never have to look at my watch once. Not once. And that's always, like, a big, big red flag to me, letting me know that I must be having a good time if I'm not really concerned about what time it is. And so, but I did that way too many times during this film for it not being even 90 minutes. But it just, it just drags. It's not as exciting as it makes itself out to be in the opening cemetery shot. And it just, like, once it becomes boring, it becomes one of those situations which I hate to do. I hate to become one of those audience members, but you become so critical of the characters and, the choices that they make in this. But in this film, at least for me, it was totally justified because these characters do so many dead fuck moves in it. Like, I can't even begin to tell you how annoyed I was getting at them. I just lost complete interest in it. The only person that, from the get-go, that I really, like, gave a shit for was Ben, played by Tony Todd, and Barbara, played by Patricia Tallman, and I, like, wanted to care for them, and Ben is all, let's hole up in the house, we need to board up the house. Makes sense, you may as well want to protect yourself, but then Patricia Tallman makes a very, obvious and, early announcement saying that the zombies are so slow, we can outrun them, let's do it. And Tony Todd makes the decision, being like the guy that would have, his head on his shoulders, doesn't do that. He's like, no, we should hole up in here. So that just pisses me off because it's like the thing that all audience members probably scream at the screen, but, of course the characters in the movie can't hear you. But here you are, you have a character in the movie telling you, they're so slow, let's outrun them. Why are we holding up in this house? So right there, it just, like, annoyed me because I was getting so bored of the setting in the house in this movie and just, like, the bickering between them that I just wanted things to, like, get more exciting, like, leave the house, have, like, be in a situation where you're just, like, overwhelmed with zombies in another area because the house just got really old really fucking quick. Moving on, the whole point of, like, once they finally try and leave the house, it's because they learn that there's actually a gas pump for their truck that's on empty, but the gas pump has, like, a lock on it, so they, like, turn the house upside down trying to find the key to unlock it to obtain the gas, and once they get there, William Butler's character realizes that the zombies are on their ass, and they've gotten the wrong keys. They're not the keys for the gas pump. So what does Genius do? He takes his shotgun and shoots the gas pump. Now, I don't know, but that seems like the stupidest thing in the world, because not only does it explode, it kills him, his wife, and the vehicle. So you're, like, triple screwed, all because you decided to shoot a gas pump. Oh, and did I mention that in the back of the truck there was actually a torch that was lit and it was flaming already? So that just probably added, fire to the situation, no pun intended. But that was, it's just one of those things where, like, they just keep constantly making dead fuck moves, and it just gets to a point where, like, you don't even care anymore. I don't care about these characters. I just want them to die. So, of course, you get to the finale, and it steers differently from the original Romero film. Ben doesn't walk away the lone survivor and gets, gunned down by people that actually come and mistaken him as a zombie. Barbara actually ends up being the lone survivor, and, a bunch of, cousin fucking Hicks pick them up, and she wakes up the next morning to see all these Hicks abusing these zombies, and possibly rightfully so. They're lynching them and whatnot, but it becomes a little too ridiculous, and they're having just way too much wild fun for it to be even slightly amusing. Like, it seems like nobody's trying to find a reason or, a cure or, just to really get, do some real investigating as to what happened. They're just making it into some gigantic party. And I guess that was really the big kick in the ass, because the ending in this film is actually an ending that Romero himself originally considered to make the ending of the original film. And I guess it is, I guess it's supposed to be like, well, even as humans, we're no better than these flesh-eating zombies. I get that. I get that that was supposed to be the big, like, impact, whoa moment of the film. But it missed its mark. By that point, I didn't care about the characters anymore. It left me really uninterested, and I thought that the original ending in the original film was way more impactful. Like, that was a real what-the-fuck moment, really left you with your jaw dropped. But this one, forgettable. Didn't really care about it. Interesting to note, though, Lawrence Fishburne and Ving Rhames were actually considered for the part of Ben that eventually went to Tony Todd, and this movie was actually banned in Germany during its original release. Banned, I'd say the Germans were actually quite lucky on that, because like I said, this is a zombie film that if you real purists need to see it, go out and check it out, but if you're looking for a really great zombie film this Halloween season, you can skip this one and just get the 1978 Dawn of the Dead movie if you want to see a great zombie film. So I don't know what to tell you guys. I just wasn't really a fan of this one. Sue me. Well, guys, thanks again for tuning in to my Halloween marathon, and I'll catch you tomorrow with yet another review. This is Frightener22.